Hi friends, hope you're all well. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my TBR for the month of August. In August I'm participating in 2 readathons, the first of which is Pixarathon, which is hosted by Lily over at Literary Lily. You'll know if you follow my channel that I really like Lily's channel, and I'll link it down below. And this is a Pixar themed readathon. It just sounds really quite a lot of fun. And the second readathon I'm participating in is Women in Translation Month, which is a celebration of women whose work has been translated, and for me that is translated into the English language, but it can be translated into any language. So I've tried to combine them really, and so I'm following one of the Pixarathon routes, and as much as possible I have included women in translation titles, and that's kind of my aim, to kind of bring the two of them together. So I'll tell you first off that I'm following the monster route for Pixarathon. I'll leave the details of the readathon down below, but basically you can follow a route that gives you certain prompts that are based on Pixar films. And I really like Pixar films, and I'm kind of hoping to watch some of the films as I read books. I'm not sure I'll watch the same films as I'm reading the books and prompts for, but basically with Pixarathon you follow a route which takes you past certain films, and they give you prompts that are based roughly and loosely on the films, and that's kind of how it works. So as I say, it seems like a lot of fun and I'm looking forward to taking part. The route that I'm going to be following is called the monster route, and I didn't choose this for any particular reason apart from that it most closely fitted books that I had access to. So I'll tell you what the route kind of stands for, and there's like a route prompt and then there's prompts for each of the films in the route. So it says about the route, it says that Pixar has always had an interesting take on monsters and what it means to be one. And hopefully the prompts will make you feel the same. Some monsters make you laugh, some monsters make you cry, but what about the books they lead you to? If you love all things fantastical, then follow this route. And the route prompt is to read anything but contemporary or non-fiction. So for this I have gone for Vagabonds, which is a sci-fi really quite a big book. It's like 600 pages, which is a lot for me, and I've started it already, but I am reading really slowly, like glacially slowly at the moment, and so it'll probably take me into the month of August, maybe even mid-August at the rate I'm reading, to finish it. It's also a hardback, so it's like really heavy to hold, but I am really liking it. I'm only like 60 pages in, but what I've read so far I like, and I'm hoping to get more into it and enjoy it even more. At the moment we're still kind of figuring out the world and figuring out the characters and like learning a lot about stuff at the moment in the book, so hopefully we'll get a bit more into it as time goes on, but that's what I'll read for that one. And the movies in this route, so that's the route prompt, movies in this route are Onward, Monsters Inc., Monsters University and Luca. I think I have watched them all except Luca, which I've never watched, so I need to watch that for sure. And I like the others. Monsters Inc. is like one of my favourites. I used to rewatch that again and again. So are so many of the Pixar films, so I didn't actually fully realise how many of these films are like favourite films for me until I came to look at all the route prompts for this. So yeah, I couldn't really have gone wrong with any of the routes. But the first movie that you hit on this route is Monsters Inc. And Lily has written about Monsters Inc. In Monsters Inc., Mike showed that laughter was a much better power source than screams. Read a book that will make you laugh, and I have chosen The Little Old Lady Who Broke All the Rules. This is one of the books that was in my summer TBR, and I'm keen to kind of read some more of them. I've read quite a few. I've probably read about half, or either read or DNF'd about half, but I want to kind of try at least read them more. I think this one's going to be really funny. It's about a little old lady. The title says it all. Little old lady who breaks all the rules. I think it might involve her kind of getting involved in some kind of criminal activity. I'm not really sure. It's also translated, and I think it's going to be really good. I don't actually have written down in front of me the author names or the translator names, so I'll put them all in the description box, but that's what I'll be reading for the first prompt. The second film you reach is Monsters University, and Lily's written, Monsters University introduced us to, well, Monsters University. Read a book set at university or school. So I didn't have anything like on hand that would hit this prompt for a Women in Translation title, but I do have a book that does fit the title, so I'm going to just include it, even though I was kind of trying to keep them Women in Translation focused, but it wasn't quite possible. There was one title that I was eyeing up. It's called Notes of a Crocodile, but two things: I wasn't really sure on the author's gender identity, and secondly, I didn't have access to it, and I'm trying not to buy books until my birthday at the moment, so I'll hold off on that for now. But the book that I've chosen for the prompt in the end is Concrete Rose by Angie Thomas. I read probably like 100-page like preview of this via NetGalley when it was first kind of coming out, and I really loved it. Like, wow, loved it. And I was kind of really hoping that my library would get the ebook, or maybe they've got the ebook but not the audiobook. And ebooks on iPads give me such headaches, so I was waiting for the audiobook to come in, and it never did. And so I decided in the end I'm just going to buy myself a copy of this. So I treated myself to a copy, and yeah, this seems like the perfect time to read it. It follows the father from The Hate You Give, and it's like his kind of character development and plot story, and I just really loved the kind of tone of the book and the way it was going, and so I'm really looking forward to reading that one and kind of finishing it off. I'll probably just start it from the start and not kind of count it from start from where I left off, because I want to kind of make sure I'm fully engrossed in the story, and yeah, really looking forward to that. So he starts off at school and stuff like that, and he falls, his partner's like pregnant and their relationship's complicated, and he's like living with his mum, and kind of a lot of complex problems for a teenager to handle. And I think he's involved in like gangs and stuff, and then he's trying to get out the gangs because he's got this child come in, and yeah, it seems really interesting, so I'm looking forward to it. The next film is Onward, and I think that's quite a new Pixar film. It's really good actually. We watched it like last year. My partner really liked it, so I might watch that one again. But yeah, Lily writes about that. In Onward, the Lightfoot brothers must follow a map and its clues to find a rare gem. Read a book involving a puzzle or mystery. So I went for a mystery novel. It's called Trap, and it's the second in a crime fiction series set here in Iceland, and I'm really enjoying it. Well, at least I really enjoyed the first book, and really keen to continue on with the series. There are 3 books in the series. I think it's just a trilogy, and that's it. But I'm really enjoying it. It's like quite short, snappy. They're not quite chapters. They're more like 1 or 2 pages, and then there's like a little ellipsis, and then there's something else, and it switched points of view like quite regularly, and yeah, really good. It follows a female-female relationship at like the centre of it, and one of the women in that relationship has a child and an ex-partner, and that woman is involved in like drug trafficking into Iceland, and the other woman is involved in like money laundering during the financial crisis, or not money laundering, but certainly illegal financial dealings during the financial crisis, or causing the financial crisis. Really interesting. I don't think I've read anything that's set at that time period, so really enjoying that. And it's quite a kind of hot topic, or like a quite an interesting topic, considering Iceland, I think, is one of the only countries to actually prosecute people who committed crimes during or that led up to the financial crisis. So yeah, really interesting sort of setting and premise, and I really liked the first book, so I'm looking forward to carrying on. And it is a mystery novel. We watch it unfold, like how their lives kind of are affected, and how she kind of gets involved in this drug trafficking operation. Quite complex. Really liked it, so looking forward to that. The final prompt in the route, or the final film in the route, is Luca, and Lily's written about Luca. Luca follows young sea monsters trying to blend in with the humans in their seaside town. Read a book set on or near the sea. And this is quite easy, because I'm just going to choose one that's set in Iceland, because basically, unless you're in the Highlands, you're pretty close to the sea. But I've got 2 options. The first is the Flatey Enigma. It's a mystery set on the island of Flatey, which is a very small island. We've been there. It's a really interesting, cool place to go. And it follows a mystery. Like, I think there's a sort of dead body that appears at the start of the book, and then it's following they're kind of just trying to solve that mystery. And the bookseller, I bought this right up in the West Fjords in Iceland, this book, and the bookseller there told me that it's kind of like the Dan Brown series. Can't remember the name of that series now, but you know the one I mean. It's like Origin, Inferno, Da Vinci Code, that series. And I read 2 of the books out of that, and then DNF, because there was some kind of like really quite problematic stuff that I found in it, and I just wasn't wasn't here for it all. But I like the premise of that, and I like the kind of mystery solving, the complex clues and stuff, so I'm hoping that's going to be the same, this Flatey Enigma. But that's not a woman in translation, that's actually written by a man. So for another book that I have picked up, which I think was going to fit this pretty well, is Miss Iceland. I read another book by this author, Butterflies in November. I did like a whole kind of chatty conversation about it, like cultural commentary about the book and about some of the things, because I've seen a lot of reviews that were saying it was like really quirky and like random, they didn't really understand it, but I felt like if you kind of understood Icelandic culture a bit more, the book makes more sense. So I did this really quite lengthy video, like kudos to anyone who actually watched that, because it was really quite long. I also had a lot of thoughts on it, and the book was very thought-provoking to me in a lot of ways, and it's one of these ones where there were some problematic things about it, but it really was thought-provoking to me, and I really liked the kind of setting and the interesting character and things like that. And Miss Iceland is supposed to be feminist and about somebody who moves to the city to try and kind of build a career for themselves, and I think it's set in like the 80s or the 60s or something like that, and they struggle basically because of systems that are not designed to celebrate and appreciate the talents of women at the time. So I think it's going to be really interesting, and very interesting to compare it to what I know of Iceland today, and just to see how it sort of shows that and what it kind of says about it. So I'm looking forward to that, and that's all of the monster route. I'm very excited for this. I'm looking forward to maybe vlogging it and like reading the books and maybe watching the films that go with the prompts or something. So that's maybe something to expect. I'm not sure whether or not I'll do just like a month-long vlog of the whole route, or if I'll maybe do weekly vlogs. I'll see how it goes. But that's my plans, and that's my reading plans for the month. If I get in any other books by women in translation, that's brilliant. I have one that's called Papaya Salad, which is like a graphic novel where translates from the Italian, and it's the author telling the story of their great-grandfather, I think. And it's sort of like a memoir, like non-fiction, but equally will have fictionalised parts to it because the author's not actually telling their own story, if you know what I mean. So I'm looking forward to reading that as well. And I can't think what else I have on my radar. I think it'll just be a case of picking up something if it appeals to me. But it'll be a good reading month, and I'm looking forward to seeing what I pick up and just enjoying the journey, I suppose. And it's been one of these funny things recently. We've not been reading a lot. Well, I've not been reading a lot because we've been doing like little trips, and like I was saying on my Instagram, I managed to secure myself a wee job here in Iceland. I've been working remotely for a British company for the last sort of 6 months or so, and then freelancing before that, and it's been kind of a wee bit sort of different, I suppose, and I wanted to kind of get into like working for a company here. So I'm absolutely delighted that I've done that, and looking forward to that opportunity and that new kind of start and new chapter, I guess. But yeah, that's really all from me. Exciting reading plans. Let me know if you're taking part in either of those readathons, whether it's Pixarathon or Women in Translation Month, or if maybe you're taking part in a different readathon. Let me know, that would be lovely. And yeah, I look forward to chatting to you in the comments. Let me know as well if you've read any of these books, what you thought of them. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again in my next video.